You ever notice how "you deserve better" sounds like something you'd expect from your gym trainer after you skip a workout, not from the woman who's been your emotional GPS for months? But here's the reality. When a woman says "you deserve better," it's rarely about your actual worth. It's about her exit strategy. This line is the equivalent of a pilot telling you, "We're experiencing minor turbulence," right before the oxygen masks drop. Now, men often hear it and translate it into something noble. "She cares about me enough to set me free." Wrong. She cares about how she looks while leaving. Because here's the thing. Women, whether consciously or not, are masters of narrative control. Psychologists call it impression management, the art of shaping how others see you while doing what's best for yourself. This line, it's the emotional PR campaign for a breakup. And you know what makes it genius? It flips the script so you can't be mad at her without looking ungrateful. She's complimenting you while discarding you. It's like getting fired from your job with a cake in the break room. But let's go deeper, because the real question is, why this line? Why now? It's not random. It's a psychological play designed to relieve her guilt. Keep the door open just enough for her ego. Avoid looking like the villain in your story. We'll get into all three in this video. Because here's the thing. Men often think breakups are about a sudden moment. They're not. By the time she says "you deserve better," she's been mentally leaving for weeks, sometimes months. You just didn't see the exit signs. This is why I want you to understand something. This line is not an evaluation of you. It's a reflection of her decision-making process. And 9 times out of 10, that process is driven by something completely unrelated to whether you actually deserve better. See, relationships end for a lot of reasons. Lack of attraction, unmet needs, boredom, conflicting life paths. But "you deserve better" packages all those messy truths into one clean, guilt-free sentence. It's basically the fast food version of a breakup. Quick, easy, and leaves you hungry for real answers. Now, I know some of you are thinking, okay, but what if she genuinely means it? Fair. Sometimes, yes, she really believes you could find someone who treats you better than she's willing or able to. But here's the nuance. If that were truly the case, she wouldn't just say it. She'd show it by either stepping up her game or stepping completely out of your way without the emotional Hallmark card. And here's where it gets interesting. The timing of when she says this matters. If it's mid-argument, it's a defense mechanism. If it's during a calm moment, it's premeditated. If it's texted, that's the digital equivalent of sliding the breakup under your door like an eviction notice. This is why, as men, we need to hear these words without falling for their emotional wrapping paper. You have to translate them for what they are. A closure shortcut. A linguistic shortcut for ending things without having to say the real specific reason. And look, I'm not saying women are evil masterminds for doing this. Men have their own versions. "You're too good for me," or "I'm just too busy right now." Both genders know how to exit without a full confession. But when it comes to "you deserve better," it hits differently because it tricks you into thinking she's still on your side right as she walks away. That's why in this video, we're going to break down why she says it, the psychology behind the line, what it actually means in different contexts. Because it's not always the same. How to respond in a way that keeps your dignity and flips the power dynamic. Because once you understand the psychology, you'll never hear "you deserve better" the same way again. And trust me, when you can read between the lines without taking it personally, you're playing a whole different game. The road to "you deserve better" doesn't start the day she says it. It starts way earlier in small, almost invisible moments that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss entirely. Here's the truth. Before she says those words, she's already been testing the relationship's weight in her mind. Every date, every conversation, every little moment you thought was harmless. She's been quietly measuring how it all makes her feel. It's not about logic. It's about emotional math. Emotional math. And emotional math is brutal. It's the part of her brain that doesn't need to show you an Excel sheet. It just feels the gap between how she wants to feel and how she's actually feeling. When the gap grows too wide, she starts looking for the exit, long before she starts packing her bags. Here's how it usually plays out. First, the energy shifts. Texts get shorter. Her laughs come slower. The little inside jokes you used to have, suddenly they don't land the same way. She's not mad. She's not cold. She's just disengaging. And because men are wired differently, we often notice these shifts way too late. While you're thinking, she's probably just stressed from work, she's thinking, I'm not feeling it anymore. It's like you're playing a game where you don't realize the scoreboard has been unplugged for weeks. Psychologically, this is called emotional withdrawal, and it's one of the first steps before a breakup. In her mind, she's creating emotional distance, so the final cut doesn't hit her as hard. It's a self-protection move, but to you it just feels like she's off lately. Then comes the mental justification stage. This is where she starts building a case in her head for why the relationship isn't right for her. And here's the part that'll sting. In this stage, she's not thinking about how great you are. She's focusing on the parts of the relationship that feel heavy, boring, or misaligned with her future. She starts telling herself things like, we're just too different. I'm not ready for this level of commitment. I need to focus on myself right now. This isn't because you suddenly became a bad person. It's because when women fall out of emotional alignment, the brain searches for reasons to justify the feeling. Those reasons may be exaggerated, vague, or completely unrelated to you, but they give her the emotional permission to start planning her exit. Then there's the social influence factor, something most men underestimate. If she's been talking to her friends, co-workers, or that one cousin who always plays therapist, she's probably already floated the idea of leaving. And once those conversations happen, the decision starts to solidify. Why? Because people rarely like to reverse a choice they've already spoken out loud. It's called commitment consistency bias. Once she's told someone, I think I might leave, her brain feels the need to follow through just to stay consistent with her own words. By the time you deserve better comes out of her mouth, it's not a sudden burst of honesty. It's the final line in a long internal monologue, one she's been rehearsing in different forms for weeks. And here's another thing men miss. When she says you deserve better, it's often after she's already emotionally connected with the idea of life without you. Maybe she's fantasized about being single again. Maybe she's thought about dating someone new. Maybe she's already talking to someone. Not necessarily in a cheating sense, but as a mental backup plan. That doesn't mean she's a bad person. It means her mind is already in the next chapter, while yours is still stuck on the current page. This is where the disconnect happens. You think you're about to have a conversation that will fix things. She thinks she's about to make her clean exit. And because she doesn't want to deal with the full emotional fallout, you deserve better is the soft landing she offers you. It lets her keep the kind role in the story, while leaving you with a sentence that sounds like a compliment but feels like a rejection. The problem is, men who don't understand this dynamic take the words at face value. They think, she's right, I do deserve better. I just need to work on myself and maybe she'll come back. Wrong. When you hear this line, you need to understand the emotional exit has already happened. What you're getting is the polite closing statement. Now, that doesn't mean there's nothing you can learn from it. It just means you need to hear it with the understanding that the process started long before you got the memo. Here's the part most men don't want to hear. You deserve better is rarely a literal assessment of your value. It's a strategic sentence. And depending on the woman, it can mean one of three very different things. Let's break them down. Reason number 1. Translation: I don't want this anymore, but I don't want to be the villain. This is the most common one. It's not about your worth, it's about her exit optics. If she left saying I'm bored or I'm not attracted to you anymore, that would cast her in the bad guy role. No one wants that. So instead she says, you deserve better, which makes it sound like she's doing you a favor. It's the emotional equivalent of dumping you on a nice leather couch instead of the pavement. It doesn't change the fact that you're outside, but at least it's comfortable. Psychologists call this face-saving communication, a way to end something while protecting both parties' social image. She gets to look compassionate. You get a line that feels less like a dagger and more like a participation trophy. Reason Tom 2. Translation: I'm about to downgrade how I treat you. This one's sneaky. Sometimes you deserve better isn't a goodbye, it's a warning label. She knows she's about to invest less effort, show less affection, or prioritize other things above you. And instead of just saying, I'm going to pull back, she frames it as you deserving more. It's like a store slapping 50% off on a product they know is about to expire. They're telling you in their own way, lower your expectations, the premium service is over. If you've noticed she's been emotionally absent, cancelling plans, or suddenly too busy for the little things she used to do, this version of the line means she's preparing you for the downgrade. Reasoned under 3. Translation: I've already picked the next chapter, and you're not in it. This one stings the most. It means she's already emotionally or mentally committed to a life beyond you. It could be single life. It could be another relationship. It could just be a version of herself that doesn't include you in the picture. The kicker? By saying you deserve better, she's not actually saying you're bad, she's saying you're no longer her version of better. It's a value shift. And when someone's values change, they will reframe even your best qualities as irrelevant. Evolutionary psychology has a term for this: mate value recalibration. When a person perceives that they can get a better deal in the dating market, whether or not it's true, their brain starts to emotionally detach from their current partner to pursue it. It's not always cold or calculated. Sometimes it's unconscious. But once that recalibration happens, staying with you feels like going against their own instincts. Why she doesn't just tell you the truth? You might be wondering, if these are the real reasons, why not just say it plainly? 2 reasons. I mean 2. 1. Social conditioning. Women, in general, are taught to let people down easy. Direct rejection can feel cruel, especially towards someone who's been good to them. 2. Emotional self-protection. Being direct invites confrontation, and breakups already come with enough emotional chaos. The softer the exit, the fewer fireworks, at least in theory. But here's the irony. That softness often leaves the other person in more confusion, not less. Because you deserve better. Gives no actionable clarity. It's a vague compliment wrapped around a goodbye, and it leaves you replaying the relationship in your head looking for clues. How to hear it without getting played. The key is to hear, you deserve better, for what it is. A signpost, not a puzzle. Don't waste energy decoding it into something romantic. If it's coming from a place of genuine care, great. If it's coming from a place of guilt or image management, also fine. Either way, it means she's done giving you the version of herself you want. And that's the part men need to understand. It's not an insult to your worth. It's an announcement about her investment level. The moment you hear those words, you have 2 options. 1. Accept the message, keep your dignity, and walk. 2. Ignore the message, chase her, and confirm her decision in the process. One of those options preserves your self-respect. The other drains it. Choose wisely. Here's a hard truth most men never hear. Sometimes you deserve better isn't just a cover for her exit. It's a disguised feedback form. It's her way of saying, I'm no longer getting the version of you I signed up for. Now, I'm not saying you have to jump into self-blame mode, but ignoring your side of the equation is like blaming the referee for a loss without watching the game tape, when better actually means different. Think back to the start of most relationships. You were probably more present, more intentional, more interesting. Not because you were pretending, but because everything was new. Novelty makes us put in extra effort without realizing it. Over time, routines form. And while stability is great for your nervous system, it's death to attraction if you stop being the man who intrigued her in the first place. Women don't necessarily leave because you've become a worse man. Sometimes they leave because you've become predictable. Predictability feels safe, but it doesn't keep the spark alive. The comfort trap. This is where a lot of men get blindsided. They confuse comfort for connection. Just because she's there physically doesn't mean she's still there emotionally. The comfort trap works like this. You stop doing the things that made her want you, because now you assume she's locked in. That could mean less flirting, less ambition, less mystery, less self-maintenance. And while you're thinking, she knows I love her, she's thinking, where's the guy I fell for? It's not that she wants a new man, she wants the version of you who was alive, engaged, and had his own gravitational pull. Self-image decay. Women are drawn to men with self-respect and momentum. If your identity starts to revolve entirely around her, you're shrinking your own value in her eyes. This isn't about being alpha or playing games. It's about having your own life, mission, and growth outside the relationship. There's a reason so many women start to lose interest when a man stops chasing his goals. From a psychological standpoint, ambition signals future security, influence, and status. When that signal disappears, the emotional attraction often follows. neglecting the non-obvious. Most men assume the big mistakes are the ones that kill attraction: cheating, lying, neglect. But often it's the smaller, invisible shifts that lead to the slow fade. You stop making her laugh. You stop making her laugh. You never surprise her anymore. You stop challenging her ideas and just agree with everything. You stop flirting because you think she already knows how you feel. Individually, these things seem harmless. Stacked over time, they create the emotional gap she can't quite explain, so she packages it as "you deserve better." Why this perspective matters? If you only hear "you deserve better" as her problem, you rob yourself of the chance to upgrade. If you can hear it as "you stopped being the man who excited me," you get a chance to fix it before the next relationship even starts. And let's be clear, fixing it doesn't mean turning into a performing seal to keep her entertained. It means returning to your baseline as a man with purpose, curiosity and edge. The kind of man she felt lucky to be around, not the one who's passively waiting for her approval. The reframe: when you shift perspective, "you deserve better," stops being a rejection and becomes a report card. A brutally vague one, yes, but a report card nonetheless. Here's the masculine way to respond. Don't argue with the statement. Don't beg for clarity. Don't spiral into proving you're enough. Instead, you accept it as information. You think, if I wasn't inspiring her best version, what would I need to adjust? Not for her, for you. Because the ultimate win here isn't getting her back. It's making sure you never hear that line again, not because women stop saying it, but because you stop living in a way that invites it. When a woman says "you deserve better," most men either get defensive or sentimental. Both are bad moves. Defensiveness makes you look insecure. Sentimentality makes you look like you're still auditioning for her approval. The goal isn't to win her back in that moment. It's to win back control of the frame. Here's how you do it. Step 1. Pause before you speak. Silence is your ally. Most men rush to fill the space with emotion. "No, that's not true," or "but I want you." The pause flips the dynamic. It signals you're not rattled, and it forces her to sit in the weight of what she just said. From a psychological standpoint, silence in high-stakes moments creates perceived authority. People instinctively read it as confidence and composure. Step 2. Accept without absorbing. This is where you acknowledge what she said without taking it as gospel. Something as simple as, "Maybe you're right." No sarcasm, no anger, just calm acceptance. It shows you're not clinging, you're considering. That's far more attractive than pleading your case. You're subtly telling her, "I have the capacity to walk if this isn't right." And here's the twist. That energy often makes her question whether she actually wants to lose you. Step 3. Remove the mystery she's expecting. She expects you to start fishing for her real reason. Don't. When you don't chase the explanation, you break her script. Instead, pivot the focus. "I don't want better, I want right. And if you don't see that here, I'll find it somewhere else." You've just reframed the conversation. She's no longer the benevolent judge handing you a compliment on the way out. You're the man assessing her fit in your life. Step 4. Keep the exit clean. If she's ending it, end it with precision. No long emotional downloads. No essays about how much you've invested. The cleaner your exit, the more it preserves your self-respect and the harder it is for her to remember you as desperate. Humans are wired to respect people who can leave without begging. Step 5. Redirect your energy. Immediate loss. One of the most common mistakes after hearing "you deserve better" is sitting in emotional limbo. Men marinate in the sentence, replay it, try to decode it. Meanwhile, their life stalls. The most masculine move you can make is to replace the energy you were investing in her with action. Hit the gym harder. Advance in your career. Reconnect with the passions you sidelined. From a behavioral psychology standpoint, rapid reallocation of focus reduces emotional dependency and accelerates detachment. Step 6. Leverage the social ripple effect. Here's something most men never think about. After a breakup, women don't just remember how you treated them, they remember how you carried yourself after. If you disappear into self-pity, word travels. If you level up quietly, word travels faster. And in the age of social media, your life's energy is visible, whether you intend it or not. So while she's expecting you to post sad quotes or disappear, you post nothing. or you post wins. You become the man whose life she still hears about. But not because you're talking to her. Step 7. Understand the long game. Some men think this strategy is about making her regret it. Wrong. It's about becoming the version of yourself where you never have to hear that line again, because your life is so rich, your presence so valuable, and your standards so clear that anyone who steps into it understands exactly what they're stepping into. If regret comes for her later, fine. But the real win is that your life keeps moving without missing a beat. The takeaway? The sentence "you deserve better" is an emotional curveball. Most men swing at it and miss. The ones who win treat it like a signal to switch games entirely. When you respond with composure, clarity, and clean detachment, you leave with your frame intact. And the man who controls the frame controls the story. Here's the truth. You deserve better isn't the sentence that defines you. It's the sentence that reveals you. How you handle it is a direct reflection of your self-respect, your emotional control, and your long-term vision as a man. Because if you think about it, that line is basically an invitation. Not an invitation back into her life, but an invitation out of anything less than the standard you want for yourself. Reframe the whole thing. You can look at "you deserve better" like an insult wrapped in satin. Or you can see it as a sorting mechanism. Life just handed you a real-time filter. She's telling you in her own PR-polished way, this isn't where you're going to grow anymore. And that's valuable intel. Not because she's the final judge of your worth, but because every time someone steps out of your life, they create space for someone or something better aligned to step in. Turn it into a pattern break. Most men treat breakups like slow deaths. They replay the moments, overanalyze every message, stalk her socials, and basically marinate in low testosterone for 3 months straight. You don't have time for that. You treat "you deserve better" like a trigger to audit your life. Where have you been coasting? Where have you been accepting crumbs instead of setting the table yourself? Where have you been playing it small? Not just with her, but everywhere. This is where you flip the script. Instead of seeing it as a door closing, you see it as a light turning on in a room you've been ignoring. The identity upgrade. Here's the move most men never make. Instead of just moving on, you level up so hard that better is a baseline, not a compliment. That means, physically, you don't just hit the gym, you build a body that commands respect before you speak. Socially, you expand your circle, upgrade your network, and surround yourself with people who push you higher. Financially, you raise your earning power. Because resources don't just change your lifestyle, they change your options. Mentally, you sharpen your mind. Because a man who can outthink his obstacles never stays stuck. When you upgrade every category of your life, better isn't something you wait for someone to tell you. It's something you wake up already being. Control the narratives. Here's a fact about human psychology. People don't remember events, they remember stories. If you handle "you deserve better" with dignity, that becomes the story. If you spiral and act out, that becomes the story. So you make sure your story reads like this. She let me go. I didn't crumble. I built something bigger. Not for her. Not for revenge. For the man you'll be 10 years from now who looks back at this moment and says, that's when everything shifted. Why this mindset works. When you stop seeing yourself as the guy who wasn't enough, and start seeing yourself as the guy who got redirected toward more, you stop chasing validation. And here's the irony. The men who stop chasing validation are the ones who attract it naturally. It's the law of emotional gravity. People are drawn to those who don't need them to breathe. So the next time you hear "you deserve better," don't flinch. Don't debate it. Don't romanticize it. Translate it instantly into, I just got a free pass out of a situation that wasn't feeding me anymore. Then walk, not because you're hurt, but because you've got somewhere better to be. And when you get there, you won't need anyone to tell you that you deserve better, because by then, you'll know you only accept it. If you're still here, it means you value the truth over comfort. And that's rare. So if you want more straight breakdowns like this, hit the subscribe button. If you've got a story where someone hit you with "you deserve better," drop it in the comments. I read every single one and you'd be surprised how many other guys will relate. And hey, share this with your friends because one day, they're going to hear those words and they'll wish they knew exactly what you know now. Now go out there and make better your baseline.